the Charney's Menswear and Tuxedo Studios, 3150 Erie Boulevard East in Syracuse, New York. Fit for every single man. That is Mike Sofka. This, oh my goodness, I almost knocked over the gauntlet. This is Dan Tortora. We almost had another crisis. I almost had to call the Avengers. We're here with you. We appreciate it. We're talking about the AFC South. We've given you the AFC North, the AFC East, the AFC West, and the AFC South. We just started with the Tennessee Titans. So, Mike, for the fun of this, because we restarted the video, let everybody know your thoughts on the Tennessee Titans once again, because if there's anything that football fans want, it's more conversation about the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, I'm not sold on their quarterback situation at all. I'm not sold that they're going to be able to get the ball to the guys. What I am sold on is they're going to be able to run the ball. And I think that's going to be a mistake. However, I think it's going to work in their benefit. See, I don't think Derrick Henry is capable of shouldering the full load all year. Like they're going to try to use this guy. I think within reason, they're going to go ahead and they're going to let him share the ball with Deion Lewis, and they're going to throw the ball to Deion Lewis. And I think that's where things are going to open up. That's where things are going to open up for a guy like a Corey Davis, who you might be able to get real cheap in a dynasty situation right now. Because just based on sheer targets alone, Corey Davis is going to be worth the own. He's going to put up wide receiver 1 type targets, maybe get wide receiver 2/3 production. But I don't think a Tajay Sharp is going to help the situation. What I do think is going to help is an A.J. Brown once he gets in and supplants a Tajay Sharp. I think Adam Humphries is perfect in the slot. I think it's just what they need for him to be the Julian Edelman of the team. I got Corey Davis right now as a 25th ranked receiver, and I think you can get him relatively low in drafts. You don't have to pay that price for him. And I think the errors of the quarterbacks and the injuries of the quarterbacks are the only things that are going to hold back these receivers. So in a dynasty situation, grab up A.J. Brown out of Mississippi, 6 foot, 226 guy, runs a 4.49. This guy is going to make an impact by year's end. He's going to supplant Tajay Sharp. He's going to open up things for Corey Davis. Adam Humphries is not a bad play out of the slot underneath, but temper your expectations here again. The quarterback situation. Marcus Mariota and Tannehill. They're going to change that logo on the side of the Titans helmet. They're going to make it like that little handicap symbol or the Red Cross symbol, because I don't think these guys are going to be able to get it done, even with getting the ball to old man Delanie Walker and Jonnu Smith. Their only hope, again, is to draw that defense up with the run and throw the ball deep, and that's what they're going to have to do to be productive. And, hey, I kind of like that when you got a wide receiver.
Yeah, and the thing is, Tajay Sharp, to me, Tajay Sharp, one of these guys got to run the slot. One of these guys got to make it happen from there. Tajay Sharp, if Corey Davis stays healthy, does what he's supposed to do. A.J. Brown comes in and takes those 1,000-yard seasons and makes them into something in the NFL. We look at the fact that Corey Davis had just shy 900 yards last season. Tajay Sharp coming into the mix. You put all that together, it looks really good. If a team has a healthy and successful quarterback, that is an if. It's a big if. It's a good upside. It's a roll of the dice. It's different from Cleveland because I lean on, I even though it's only 1 year, I trust that Baker's going to do some good things and get it done. But in the case of Tennessee, it's like Mike said, it's the handicap symbol. The great thing about Tennessee is they get to park at the front of the Sizzler. But the other side of that is that they have to wait and see if this thing's going to work out, which means you have to wait and see if this thing is going to work out. So that is the big question mark. If Sharp and Davis and Brown do their jobs and their quarterbacks can get them the ball, this is a very dangerous team that you can steal 3 different sleepers because people are not thinking of Corey Davis, they are not thinking of A.J. Brown, and they are not thinking of Tajay Sharp. Sharp is going to be late, Davis is going to be late, and Brown, because somebody liked him in college or paid attention to college football, he may be the first one to go because that's the name that's maybe at the top of people's minds. But the difference between the Titans and the Jets is that maybe nobody drafts him till the late part of your draft. The difference is that you should draft a Titan because the New York Jets' best plan is always, every single year, it's their best plan. Throw the hands up in the air and wave them like you just don't care because you don't.
Losing teams still got to put up fantasy points. If they're going to lose, they're going to air out the ball. So there's some rays of sunshine. Our job is to find them.
Right. So we're trying to look for the rays of sunshine in New York, but it's hard to find them in between the buildings. With that being said, we're moving on to the Indianapolis Colts. Mike, what are your thoughts? Andrew Luck put up some big-time numbers, made me kind of zip a little bit there because he'd been injured for the last 2.5 seasons, and I was kind of like, is he going to be good anymore and this and that? He put up some good numbers. T.Y. Hilton is the guy that people draft high because of his namesake, but not because of the fact that he's really gotten it done on the field lately. Devin Funchess is a lot of things that don't run, that aren't a part. You know, his name starts with fun, but his play doesn't end with it. That's how I feel about Devin Funchess. It's not a bunch of Funchess. It's just a little bit of fun time to time. It's that kid that you hang out with in the sandbox because he's kind of cool, but every once in a while he picks his nose and he eats it. That's how it feels about Devin Funchess. He has his moments of positivity, but you never share a sandwich with him. That's how I feel. It's the weirdest analogy I've ever brought to the show in 16 plus years, but I'm proud of it. And Devin, that was for you, baby. Chester Rogers, pardon me. He's out of Grambling, undrafted free agent in 2016. We got to see Zach Pascal, Steve Ishmael, who came out of Syracuse, a friend of mine. You know, Deion Kane out of Clemson, who has good hands, but he's a guy that was relatively unnoticed when he came out in 2018 in the 6th round. So it's still the T.Y. Hilton show. I just don't feel that great about it, but they do play in half the season in a contained environment in a dome at Lucas Oil Stadium. What are your thoughts about the Indianapolis Colts and everything going on with T.Y. Hilton, as well as my analogy of Devin Funchess sharing sandwiches with you after picking his nose?
Yeah, you know, I love that. I just ate breakfast. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm about to eat very soon.
T.Y. Hilton out of Florida International is still the man. He's going to be the man. This is a solid guy. You can count on him for bottom-end wide receiver one production. They're going to have to pass the ball. They're going to have to pass the ball in Indianapolis. And the bottom line is they don't have a running game. Marlon Mack, Dane Hines, Jordan Wilkins, none of these guys can seem to get it done. Let me tell you something. Paris Campbell, that's the guy you want. Paris Campbell. Now, he's going to be a late guy. He may not get drafted in your redraft leagues. He may get drafted way late. He's going to turn out to be the 1A or the 2 to T.Y. Hilton. Devin Funchess is going to be able to hold this guy back. I think Funchess has a role on the team. Don't get me wrong. I trust Rodgers and Deion Kane. We could see these guys. But Paris Campbell's the one to have. T.Y. Hilton, you can get. Somebody may overdraft him, and that's okay. Because you can get Paris Campbell very, very cheap, very, very late. Paris Campbell's going to take this thing by storm. On my adjusted explosive index, he ranks number 3 at a 104.87, 6 foot, 205 pounds, runs a 4.31. That's pretty fast for a 6 foot, 205 guy. That's a man right there. He's got some hands. He put up some numbers at Ohio State where they like to throw the ball. This guy can get it done. Go get you some Paris Campbell. Go ahead and own Andrew Luck as well. Double the points when they score. When you get one of these, you know, it used to be the fun thing with Peyton Manning. It used to be the fun thing you get a Reggie Wayne or Peyton Manning or somebody and score twice when they scored. That's always fun to do. That's always fun. But just remember, when you take that risk, when they're down, they're down. If they go up a tough defense, you could score relatively low points that week. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Eric Ebron's going to continue to contribute at a hefty pace, better than he did Detroit. Yeah. I think Jack Doyle's going to be healthy again. He's going to be a little bit of a threat there as well. And watch out for the appearance of Mo Alley Cox. Talked about him several years ago, wrote blog beats on him on the site. This is a guy who can emerge out of nowhere. He's a basketball player turned football player. He's been a project for a couple years. He could emerge and replace a Jack Doyle. So it could be Ebron and Mo Alley Cox further on down the road. That's going to continue to further open things up for those wide receivers, because it's okay if nobody thinks you're going to run the ball. But if you got 7 guys who can catch the ball, you got a problem. Yeah. So Eric Campbell's the guy to get, but T.Y. Hilton's your number 1 target in Indianapolis.
I want to do a show with you and I and T.Y. and call it You and I T.Y. And that's where my brain goes. I mean, you know, I'm hearing everything you're saying, but it's in my mind, You and I T.Y. So here's the thing.
Next week, I'm going to have a sound effect, too. It's going to be crickets.
Nice. The crickets, which you're not supposed to kill if it's in your house. You have to let it be what it is. But T.Y. Hilton, his numbers are good, okay? Now, I said it's not the T.Y. Like, from week to week, he doesn't wow me. But when you look at it at the end of it, 1,083 yards in 2013. 1345 after that, 1124, 1448, 966, 1270 this most recent season. He gets into the end zone six or seven times at best a season. He's never had a double-digit touchdown season receiving, but he's got the yardage, the PPR and whatnot. Shout out to Canada, Val Reed, who's watching, a good friend of mine of so many years. Shout out to Val, and thank you for watching, and everybody that's tuning in. Oh, Canada. Oh, and by the way, what is this? First of all, that's BB-8. That's the best character ever. But I'm going to put that up for the world because it took me 24 years to be able to say that my Toronto Raptors are national, international, NBA, I love it so much, champions. They are certified gold, and I feel good about it. So let me say something about T.Y. Hilton. From week to week, he doesn't wow me, but when I went and looked back at his numbers, I'm a man who admits when I'm wrong, which the media does never. So I'm going to say that by looking at these numbers, T.Y. Hilton is still a top 10 guy to me, top 7, see what he can do. He's got Andrew Luck, and like I said, he's playing inside of a stadium that's enclosed for half the season. So going back and taking a look at these numbers, I like T.Y. I would draft him, but you talked about Paris Campbell and what Paris Campbell can bring to the table. I want to take a quick look at Paris Campbell's statistics and let everybody know what's going on with him. We've looked at these before, but Paris Campbell out of OHIO had 1,083 yards most recently, 12 touchdowns. And before that, and this is a guy who was given, he had 40 catches. So he was looked at less in 2017. 40 catches, 584 yards, 3 touchdowns. This past season, they bump him up at Ohio State by more than double. He has 90 catches from 40 the year before, takes that and doubles his yardage output pretty much, and takes his touchdowns and multiplies those by 4. So the more they trusted him, the more they wanted to go after him, the more they wanted to get the ball to him, the more he did, which is a great sign for Indianapolis. They've looked for a number 2 for a long time. Marvin Harrison passed the torch to Wayne. Wayne passes it, Reggie Wayne passes it to T.Y. Hilton. In this case, is this a passing of the torch to Paris Campbell? It could be, because they have been able to successfully be able to go down the line and say Harrison to Wayne to Hilton to question mark. So now we're waiting to see who that's going to be, but the 1-2 punch could be great here. If Paris Campbell can come out and strike right away and makes the AFC South a danger zone for the other teams, the Jaguars, the Titans, and the Texans, and it gives the Colts something they haven't had in a long time, which is 2 wide receivers to go to. So I like Campbell, again, because he's a rookie. He will be somewhat forgotten by some. He may not show up on everybody's board. T.Y. Hilton will. He'll be picked in the top couple rounds. He's a top 7 wide receiver, could be a top 5 guy. So I think Hilton and Campbell are the easy choice here because of the fact that they're both going to get it done. I mean, they're both going to have the opportunity to get it done. It'll be set before them. Hilton has the numbers to prove it. Paris Campbell has the upside to hope for it, but they're both draftable. And I'm going to go higher on Campbell than probably a bunch of people out there because they need another guy. They need some help. And if for nothing else, T.Y. Hilton is the guy that everybody keys in on with Indianapolis, which is going to open the world for Paris Campbell. And I'm going to get to see him at least once, God willing, live when the Jaguars take him on at home in Jacksonville at their TIAA Bank. The next team we got to do, second to last one, are the Houston Texans. They have DeAndre Hopkins, who, just like Andre Johnson, who was there before him, had tremendous numbers for a team that had way too many quarterbacks and just really a not good situation. DeAndre Hopkins shows out no matter what. So did Andre Johnson. Will Fuller, the 5th, has been injured every single year. God willing, that'll stop out of Notre Dame. He's been a talent, supposed to be the number 2 guy, but he hasn't been able to stay healthy. And Kiki Kuti, which is another song that I like to play, and I will, but after Mike tells us his thoughts on the Houston Texans.
Look, they got a great quarterback. Deshaun Watson's a great quarterback. He's a top-tier quarterback. He's a top 5 quarterback. What they don't have is a running game that poses a threat to most anybody. I think Lamar Miller's a liability. I think they've been waiting for Donta Foreman to gel and become something. They go out and they get Cohen, Gillespie. I know I'm saying that wrong. And a Demaria Crockett, either one of these guys, I like a Crockett to come in later on here. These guys could both supplant Miller and Foreman if things keep going the way they're going. Look for more of that closer to the season here. But here's the bottom line. Will Fuller, up until last year, had a touchdown with Watson in every game he appeared in. Although he's injury-plagued, injury-riddled guy, if every time you get on the field, if every week I look up and you're scoring me a touchdown and getting a couple extra catches and a couple yards, I'm good with that. Kiki Kuti's going to finally get his shot here, and not just because Will Fuller is injured. He's going to be the 3 receiver. But DeAndre Hopkins, he's the number 1 guy, could possibly, arguably be a number 1 pick in your draft, depending on your scoring system. I still like some running backs ahead of him, but he's a top 5 overall pick as well. You can't say enough about the guy. I like the guy a lot. I don't think the tight ends are going to be taking away any touches from these receivers. They're all Yeoman type guys, middle of the way type guys, in the Jordan Thomas and Jordan Atkins. They like Jordans there. Darren Fells is more of a blocking guy, but I don't think the running game is going to help the passing game. But I think they're going to pass the ball, and they're okay with that in Houston. They got a good defense, and a good defense is a great thing to have. If you have a good defense and can run the ball, that's the formula. They're just missing the run the ball part. But that's okay because they got DeAndre Hopkins. They'll just throw it up to D-Hop, and he'll catch the ball. I like D-Hop a lot. I look for a lot of nuke all year. Go ahead and grab him as your number 1 overall receiver.
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins, his numbers are insane. As a rookie, 802 yards, targeted 91 times. He's been targeted over 100 times after that. He caught 111 passes for 1,521 yards in 2015. In that season, in the middle of 2014, he had 1,210 yards. Then he went on to have 954 in 16-17, 1,378 in 2017-18, and last season got over 1,500 yards again. His best season was last season, which is always a good sign. What you've done for me lately, best season is most recently 1,572 yards, most he's ever had in a season in the NFL, 115 catches, most he's ever had in a season in the NFL. And the last time he had over 100 receptions, he was targeted 192 times. This time he was targeted 163 and had 115, which is more than 111 for those of you playing the mathematics game. So he's caught the most amount of passes this past season that he's ever had in an NFL season, and he did it with almost 30 less targets thrown his way than the last time he had over 100 receptions. So he's getting better with time like a fine wine. Love myself some DeAndre Hopkins, and I also love the fact that Kiki Kuti gives me the opportunity to do this. There's nothing like it. There's, who thought that they'd listen to a fantasy show and watch it while I'm playing Kiki, Do You Love Me? And Father Time has the magnifying glass out. Who would have thought that would... What?
Only in America.
Only in America, baby. And that's how it's got to be. I have the Tony Stark goatee, and Mike has if Tony Stark never was able to shave ever. So with that being said, the sexy factor just went up 115 degrees because of the facial hair and because of what Mike just did that we're not going to talk about. So DeAndre Hopkins making it happen. Kiki Kuti is going to get some opportunities. Will Fuller, I don't trust him because he gets injured too much. Leave him on the waiver wire or free agency more than likely. But DeAndre Hopkins is just an amazing, amazing specimen of football that you got to go out and get. And for those of you that are on the Jets, DeAndre Hopkins is what they call a wide receiver. You should probably look into that for your team in the future. The Jacksonville Jaguars are the team that I saved for last, and they have Marquise Lee coming off of a torn ACL. They have D.D. Westbrook, who's a speedy guy, which is why we wear the flash. We have DJ Chark out of LSU, who had big-time upside and a big name behind him in a big conference of the SEC, but he dropped a lot of passes. Chris Conley, we're still waiting to see what he could be, a free agent coming to the team this past March out of Kansas City. Keelan Cole, who stepped up big time and doesn't cost a lot of money but was lost last year. And then a guy who got injured who's been a wide receiver and a returner for the Jaguars in the special teams world, and that is Jadon Mickens. Lots of guys, lots of youth, and Marquise Lee, I mean, he's a slot guy to me. How can he be your number one option? But he's there. What are your thoughts, Mr. Sofka, on the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have Nick Foles throwing to the fray now? Do they have enough? Do they have something draftable? Or is this just throw it at the wall and see what sticks?
Yeah, you know what? Jacksonville is almost like the Oakland Raiders in this respect with their receiver core. It's a motley crew. It's the bad news bears of receiver. It's guys that all have number one pedigrees and have had second chances or reconditions due to several things. Marquise Lee injured year after year after year. Big name guy out of Florida, not University of Florida, out of Florida High School, and then USC. This is a guy who was the number one guy. He was the receiver to have for years. He has yet to show up. D.D. Westbrook had some black marks coming on him, had some problems coming out of Oklahoma State. Jaguars took a chance on him. Chris Conley, he's probably just happy to be back in the South, the Georgia product. Maybe he had problems getting on the field and staying on the field, so there's that angle. Terrell Pryor at Ohio State, the quarterback situation didn't work out. He converts to wide receiver in the NFL. He's on the up, although I haven't seen much of him lately. DJ Chark. This is a guy, DJ Chark, who could be a player. He was up near the top of my explosive index last year, only behind DJ Moore and ahead of Cortland Sutton. This is a guy who I look to start to explode this year. Keelan Cole, you know what? We may have seen the best of him. I hope for Jaguars fans we haven't, but we may have seen the best of him. And you may have hit it right on the head, Dan. I think Marquise Lee is the guy in the slot. So what I'm thinking is you get a guy like DJ Chark, a tall guy, put him on the outside, D.D. Westbrook on the outside, and then a Marquise Lee in the slot. I think that's the correct answer. I think it might take them a little while to find. The good news is they have an excellent defense and they have an excellent running game. I think we're going to see a resurgence of Leonard Fournette. And look out for Raquel Armstead. Fantasy dynasty guy to latch onto. I'm telling you, Leonard Fournette gets hurt. This is your guy. They got a lot of other names, but that's what they are. Alfred Brew and Thomas Rawls are not going to fill the role of a Leonard Fournette. Raquel Armstead has what it takes to be that every down guy, to be that first two down guy. So hopefully with the quarterback, the improved quarterback play of a Nick Foles now in,
yes,
maybe that's the difference in these receivers. It has to be something. These guys have the pedigree. They have the talent. They have the tools in the toolbox. Will they take them out and make something nice for us?
They were recruited high. They played in good conferences on tremendous teams. They should be able to get it done. The SEC has found a home with the Jacksonville Jaguars, whether it's Florida or LSU and so on and so forth. So with that being the ACC as well with Florida State's. So with that being said, they have the talent. Marquise Lee being the guy that when they had Marquise Lee and they had Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns, he was the third option. Well, what he has done most recently is had 702 yards. He's never gotten over 1,000 yards. First season with Jacks, 422, 191 after that, 851 after that, 702 after that. He only started 6 games for Jacksonville in 2016 out of 16. He only started 1 in 2015 out of 10. He only started 8 in 2014 out of 13. The only time he started every game was 2017-18 with 14 games played and 14 games started. So he's never had to be the guy. Last year was the first year, and he got hurt. So it's another chance. I hope that this is I hope I get the humble version of Marquise Lee that I saw at the end of the season in the AFC Championship game in Foxborough, standing at his locker, and not the guy that I saw during the season that was flashy and diamond earrings and it's all about me and look at me and how fresh I am and I'm awesome. Don't do that. Be the other Marquise Lee. Be the Marquise Lee that evens out that locker room that already has trouble. Show me the leadership, and they'll show you the money. I want to see what Marquise Lee can do. I hope that we get leadership out of him. Chark, you got to step it up. Dede, I know you got talent. Keelan, I know that you could go get the long ball. Jadon, I know you're a phenom that costs next to nothing. Show America and show the world that this team has talent. It's the island of misfit toys, but that is how some championships are won, and I love that movie. So make sure that you could go out there and get it done. And, listen, out of all the reindeer, the one with the red bright nose is the one that led them all. Everybody made fun of him, but he got it done. I don't care if the red-nosed reindeer is Marquise Lee, DJ Chark, Jadon Mickens, Keelan Cole. I don't care who it is. Dede Westbrook. All I care about is that when Santa needs that sleigh to run, he trusts you in the front of it all. And Jacksonville needs to find one of those guys. Are they draftable? Are they going to be on free agency? Probably. Who's going to get picked up? Marquise Lee. Who will take a chance on Dede Westbrook? One of these people. Because Mike and I are the ones that kind of know what's going down here. But Mike, once again, as we get set and excited for Frozen 2 from Disney, they have taken over our broadcast again to freeze you as a way to show us that Elsa is not gone, and she never will be. So, Mike, final words. Thank you so much for having you on. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Thank you to Disney for their shameless plug of Frozen that exclusively happened here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I'll talk with you soon, Mike.
All right. Thanks, Dan.
All right, be good. So we're going to end this video here, and we thank you for watching every Wednesday